Hi, I'm Rebecca of Pocket Full of Posies, and I decided to participate in a CosTuber one-day make challenge. So my plan is to make a Victorian chemise because I need one, and I've got fabric, got some cotton sheeting that I'm going to use, and so here we go. Alright, so I am using a pattern that I printed off, a PDF pattern by Black Snail Patterns, sewing pattern number 1115 for Victorian underwear. So the pattern comes with the chemise pattern, petticoat, bustle, and drawers. And I'm planning on making the chemise. So this morning, as I was trying to get started doing this, had a little bit of a mishap. Hercules somehow knocked my light over, which broke a bit. So the lighting in this may not be the best. Kind of using what I have to try to at least make it slightly brighter than no light, or just the, you know, overhead light in the room. Got the window open, give some more light, so hopefully that will be okay for this. So it looks like you cut and extend 18 inches on these pieces, so that I noticed that the petticoat instructions had a similar instruction, so that saves a bit on paper. So you just know that the full length of it is not included in the pattern. You have to extend the pattern piece to make it the correct length. Okay, got my pieces cut out, and now I am going to actually read the directions. Okay, reinforce shoulder straps. Take the small pieces and turn in seam allowance along the dotted line. Line up with the straps and top stitch right beside the edge. Base layers together within the seam allowance. Okay. Okay, so got my little reinforcement pieces to sew down to the front and back pieces. Okay, I'm just going to pin these on to the front and the back pieces, and then do the top stitching. And then it says to, so we're going to top stitch Kitty. We're going to top stitch right along this folded edge right here, and then baste within the seam allowance around these pieces. Okay, do the top stitching. Okay, so I have been working about an hour. Everything is cut out. I guess maybe an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. I cut everything out, including the pattern, and you know, so a lot of that time was taping the pattern together. I've finished one of my top stitched pieces, so I figured it would be good to keep track of how long things are taking. So it is now 10:19 a.m. I have to work at 3:45 today, so have a few more hours and so I think I should be able to get this done. $10.27, just finished the second one. I top stitched and basted just around this part. Okay, so things are going well. It is now 10:59 a.m., 11 a.m. I have done all of the reinforcing pieces. I'm afraid I said earlier that I was doing the back first, but this is the back. I did the back second. So that's top stitched and then just basted around. And so on to the next step, which is pin tucks. And yeah, still deciding whether I'm doing pin tucks. Going to try the pin tucks. Woohoo! Okay, so I sewed down some pin tucks, and obviously I have made a mistake. Seam ripping time. I'm having one of those days. Back to the instructions. Okay, so I did my pin tucks. They do not look amazing. Did not sew them correctly, but I'm not worrying with it. I can take them out and redo them later, or just leave them because it's an undergarment and this is the first time I've ever made this, and yeah. Alright, join front and back along the side seam with a French seam or a flat felled seam. Okay, so got the front, got the back. Gonna do a French seam, which means that I'm going to sew wrong sides together first. So I'll just do a quarter since I need more space anyway. Okay. Just for timestamp, it's now 11:50. So I sewn the side seams, wrong sides together. Now I am trimming to about 1/8 of an inch. And then once I do that, then I will flip it. And then press it along the seam line. Hercules. Oh! Oh look, it's American Duchess shoes that almost fell on my head because Hercules knocked them down off the shelf. Okay, so now those seams are encased. So when I flip it right side out, still a very nice seam. And then on the inside, can see that. It is encased. Okay, so the next step is to take the narrow cotton lace and attach to the armhole, wrong sides together. Now I don't have any narrow cotton lace. I have this not narrow eyelet. So I think I am going to just use this, maybe just cut it off here. That's the plan. I don't even know if that was in frame. Cut it off here, basically, and then attach that around the armholes. (12:14 p.m.) Okay. 12:33 p.m. And I sewed the lace on around the arm side, and so the pattern calls for twill tape or cotton tape, and it also said to sew it on wrong sides together. And insert it, and then trim back the seam, and then press, and then take a cotton tape pin to the armhole covering the seam allowances, and top stitch right beside both edges. But since I do not have any white cotton tape, I attached the lace right sides together, so then I can flip it, and then I'm just going to, you know, trim this, and then turn this over and just, you know, fell it down, because that way the raw edges will be taken care of, and I don't have, and it will still look nice on the outside, and I won't have to worry about the cotton tape. So I'll probably won't do that until after work tonight, sitting on the couch. Best time for hand sewing. Okay, so I did the exact same thing for the neckline as well, because needed, again, it called for the cotton tape and all of that, you know, so, which of course I do not have. So I just did it the same way. I sewed them right sides together, then I will flip, and I will trim this down and then turn this and fill that down. Now, I may do a little decorative top stitch, because the pattern says you can do that, you know, suggests doing that on the cotton tape, and so I might do that. And then once that's done, then you need to turn in the cotton tape twice, which we don't have, top stitch from the right side. Oh, at the end of the shoulder strap. Okay. Top stitch from the right side, turn in the seam allowance twice, and top stitch, attach buttons, and sew buttonholes. Okay, so I guess besides hemming, all that's left to do is to turn in the seam allowance and sew that down. I think I will do the decorative stitch because that's fun. I won't do a different color, I'll just do it in white. That will give a little extra pretty to the neckline and around the arm side. So that's next. Trim down the edge. I'm just turning it under like I did around the arm side, and then that way I'm encasing the raw edges. Okay, so sewed the lace down. I did a little decorative stitch. So the edges, the raw edges are encased on the inside. Hercules is being helpful as always. So did that around the arm side as well as the neckline. And the time, 1:48. So I've sewn it together except for the shoulder seams. The pattern calls for buttons on the shoulder seams, but I'm thinking I'm not going to do that because it goes over my head easily without the buttons, and I don't have any buttons that I like that I would want to put on this, and then I also hate doing buttonholes. So I'm just gonna sew the shoulder straps together and leave it at that. So there we go. Okay, so I sewed the shoulder seams together, and I'm just going to do a little whip stitch to fill them down. I trimmed one side seam allowance and folded over the other. Okay, so I have a little break between students, and so I have about 30 minutes that I can sew, well, 25, because I don't want to be sewing right up until my next Zoom lesson starts. But, so I've got about 25 minutes that I can use now to finish hemming. I pinned the hem. And then I'm doing that decorative stitch around the hem. So let's see, I guess I've got about 20 minutes. It's 5:35 right now. My next student is at 6 o'clock. So off I go. Okay, so it is now 6:30. My next lesson has called out sick, so I have another 30 minutes before my next lesson at 7. Well, 20. Let's give myself 20 minutes. And I'm almost done. I actually got almost done before this last lesson that I just taught. But then I ran out of bobbin thread, and so by the time I filled it, it was almost time to teach, so I just, you know, figured, well, we'll do it when I get off work tonight. But so I have an unexpected 30 minutes, so, or 20 about. So we'll get finished with it. Okay. So seeing the mess that is my studio, music studio and sewing room. And I've cut my head off. Okay, so it's done. I think it's pretty cute. Pin tucks aren't even, but can I be bothered? No, probably not. So, all done. I finished the hem, which I don't think you can see. So I just added the full width of the eyelet to the hem, and yeah, I think it came out very cute. Gonna iron it, and try it on again after work. Forgot to tell you the time. 6:40 p.m. and I'm done, except for ironing, so you know, almost done. 8:43 p.m. Finished with my last student, and I have tried it on, and here it is. Here it is. And let's see if I can back up enough to see it all the way around. I think it looks pretty nice. Got some. I'm pleased with how it turned out. I would definitely recommend this pattern. It was pretty easy. Of course, I made some adjustments to it, but all in all, for a one-day make, I'm very, very pleased with it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more sewing adventures.